Twitch's community guidelines, nudity and sexually explicit content are prohibited.
Sure.
But that hasn't stopped Cyberpunk 2077, which features both full frontal cyber junk and explicit in-game sex, from becoming the third most popular game on the platform. In a statement on Twitter, Twitch said, quote, "We've seen some confusion around Cyberpunk 2077 as it relates to our rules on nudity and sexual content. Our community guidelines allow games that show some sexual content as long as it is not the focus of the game or a core gameplay element. You may stream these games provided you naturally progress through things like character customization and don't spend excessive time focused on in-game sexual content or nudity." Is Twitch bending their own rules for Cyberpunk 2077? And if so, why?
Strictly speaking, based on their own statements about TOS, you could argue that they're not, but they're interpreting them in such a way as to allow people to stream the sexy parts of this game. But the problem is that they're doing that for this game, a AAA title. Meanwhile, other smaller games from little indie studios are banned entirely on Twitch because they feature sexy parts, just like Cyberpunk 2077. And again, it's not the focus of the game. It's like an effort to include maybe a like wider range of sexuality and like be more inclusive. But those games don't get to be played because they don't have that AAA studio behind them.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, because the letter of the law here is that it's games that feature sex, nudity, pornography, or sexual violence. Like, that to me is like, I got to a point yesterday. I was
specifically as the core focus of the game. And that's, again, how they are interpreting the rules to allow Cyberpunk to be streamed.
It's like, hey, is this a core element, and is this featuring, or is this just something that kind of popped up? And I will say, I was streaming last night. I did get to one of those moments, and as it was happening, I felt ill-equipped to do anything. And I was like, all right, well, do I block my stream? Am I about to get banned? Am I about to lose everything?
Oh, you had a sexual encounter?
Yes!
And you felt ill-equipped to do anything?
Yes!
That's how I feel every time. No, don't they have a mature content warning in front of these streams already? Should that not be enough to cover what is sort of like the big deal here? Like, I feel like the double standard, again, like you said, Emma, what if this was a smaller game with a penis on your character?
You want to talk about double standards?
Yeah, let's hear
Let's get into these community guidelines that have just come out here, wherein Twitch has basically said, we will take action against the use of terms like simp, incel, or virgin, specifically when they're being used to negatively refer to another person's sexual practices. Using these terms on their own wouldn't lead to an enforcement, but we would take action if they were used repeatedly in a harassing manner. So, okay, basically they've come out and said, hey, if you're using these terms in a way that is intended to be harmful, then you will get banned. But again, this is a weird double standard where sometimes somebody simply using a term like this, or as Degon brought up earlier, featuring some sort of nudity within the game, have just immediately gotten banned. So it's like, who's interpreting these things? And also bringing up the fact, explicitly saying, we're gonna ban the word simp, but not something that is truly derogatory towards an entire race of people is not being brought up at all. But the word simp, in my opinion, is one of those terms that has been co-opted, very similar to like an otaku or a weeaboo, which were meant to be derogatory terms, but have been co-opted to mean something good. I would put something like stan in the same category as this, which stands for stalker fan, but people use it mostly in a positive light these days. And like simping's become kind of a fun term, in my opinion. Now, granted, I am not everyone, and like it all has to be taken in context, of course, but like, come on, man. And also incel is literally a problem. Like, that is actually a dangerous term because people have adopted that as a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And it is a destructive group of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, please.
I just go back to that moment, and we just saw Shroud on his stream, you know, when he was like, oh, we're character customizing, and blam, it's right in your face. Like, how many people watch stream? How many kids watch Shroud on his stream? And it's just like, it's there, and
Yeah.
that's okay, but saying the word simp is not, or
Yeah.
in a way is not.
Is it
just
too
feels-
unreasonable to ask Twitch to send us a picture of everyone in the room that made this decision? Just so we
Yeah,
can see what
I
the makeup
know,
looks
right?
like. We know what Congress looks like. They make a bunch of laws. I want to see who's making these decisions. I think we're going to maybe see some trends.
Yes, send us the Twitch Congress so we can see who is telling us that women's nipples are the worst thing you could possibly show on a stream. Meanwhile, it's fine to show heads explode. Moving on. Thanks for tuning in. Check out more great moments on our YouTube at Watch VENN and watch the full episode on VENN.tv.